building these people's lives in such a little increment. Do you sit down and have their life, and then you go back and say, I'm gonna tell them this much today and this much? Because, you know, you just read one little chapter and another little thing comes out of it.
So her question, could you all hear that?
That makes sense,
Okay.
that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I know my characters pretty well before I begin. I feel like that's my strength. And I think that comes from being a therapist and being a social worker. Whenever young people come to me and say, I want to be a writer, so I'm going to go into this creative writing program, I always sort of like, oh, I just want to say, fine, but as your second major, go into something that's people-oriented so that you've got people to write about, so that you understand people better. Because I really think that's been such a huge help. I have no training in writing, except for that one class I took. So I think what really helps me is having dealt with people for sure. Right, right.
There are a lot of complicated relationships in this book. I thought Hunter's relationship with his mother, she's a very difficult but deep person, you know.
Yeah, I like complicated relationships, but I also, if you're familiar with my books, you know that most people in my books are good people. And I really like good people in extraordinary circumstances and how they deal with it. And my own life is really complicated in that I've had 2.5 husbands.
I have a very literal image of that.
And which was a half.
And I have 3 amazing grown stepdaughters, not from the current relationship, but from a previous relationship. And all these grandkids who are my step-grandkids. And all these sons-in-laws and all these exes. And pretty much we all get along. And I really love that. So my biggest problem in writing is conflict. And it was really my biggest problem as a social worker too. As a therapist, you know, can't we all get along?
That's from the Beatles.
Why can't we all just get along? So, so I don't know where I was going with that. I like working on characters and figuring out who they are and what their defense mechanisms are, and what they have to deal with in order to, how they're going to come out the other side, what their big issue is.
And the way you give us just little bits and pieces that keeps you.
I didn't know I did that.
Oh, anybody agree?
Yeah.
I mean, you get a little bit more, a little bit more.
You go, oh.
Can't put this down.
Oh.
Gotta read another chapter.
But they really develop, they really
Yes.
develop. That's the, it's not that they're just not all in your face
don't
at
find
once.
out
They
that
not
they-
over time.
I'm not going to give you several paragraphs
No.
what this person
Right,
is
yeah,
like.
right.
Right.
You show, don't tell. Right?
I try. That's important.
But
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but still you feel so close to your characters. When I was reading it, I had the same reaction, like, why can't Patty go instead? I mean, I had that same thought, but because you just get so involved with the character when you're reading the book.
I find it so funny because it never occurred to me that Patty would go.
Really?
Yeah, you know, Patty was, she had her son right there, so, no, of course Patty wouldn't go. That definitely wouldn't be an option.
It's interesting to think about that. Anybody else?
What is usually the time frame between like when you write your book and then it gets published?
For me, it's about a year. So, for example, I just turned in next year's book, but now I've got the 5-page revision letter from my editor. So that'll take me about a month. Once my book tour is over, I'll work on that. I'll be
5
going.
pages isn't too bad.
Well, what cracks me up is she sends it in this teeny tiny font, so it looks like. And then you print it out in something you can actually read, and you realize it's 5 pages. But I'll be going away with my writer friends, Mary Kay Andrews, I bet some of you know her, and a bunch of other people, and we go on retreat about once a year. So we're all gonna go down to her place at Tybee Island, because my Topsail condo is not looking so good at the moment. It's not that bad, but it is going to need some work. So we'll all be down there and we'll be helping each other with whatever our project is now. So I imagine by the end of the year, that book will be all put away, and then it'll come out next
Be a
October.
fly on the wall.
I know, right?
It is fun.
So you're working on everybody's project at the same time?
Yeah, what happens is in the morning, we get up and Mary Kay pulls out a chart, and she's writing all of our goals for the day on. And usually it'll be what we're working on. And then in the evening, we get back together and everybody says, here's the problem I'm dealing with. Here's my plot problem. Here's whatever issue we've got. And then we all brainstorm. And it's fun.
How long have you had this camaraderie?
I've been with this group the 13 years that I've lived in North Carolina. Nancy Olson, who owned Quail Ridge Books, pulled them together, and then when I moved to the area, she kind of vetted me. We went out to lunch, and I commented on her political sticker on her car, and I could see the light go off in her eyes. She'll fit right in. So then we all got together, and it's been wonderful.
People tend to think of writing as this thing that you do by yourself in a room, but it actually requires a lot of
You need friends.
You need friends. You need other writer friends. You need exposure to other ways of thinking of things, because otherwise you just sort of write yourself into a corner and go anywhere. And North Carolina is especially good for that, actually. North Carolina is
Oh my gosh.
amazing.
When I first moved to North Carolina, the phrase that came to me is, North Carolina celebrates writers. It just does. It takes care of its writers. It has the Weymouth Center for the Arts, where writers can go for up to 2 weeks each year for free and just write, if you don't mind the ghosts. And it's a great place. And it's just, it really, there's tons of writers here, and so there's always a support system.
And a tradition of what I think you could call mentorship, right?
Yeah.
From generation to generation.
That is true.
Generation.
I was with some people, there's another group that I hang around with that's kind of in my neighborhood.
Listen, I want to move to this neighborhood.
And I was driving someplace with one of them, they're all younger than me, and she said, we think of you as our wise old sage. Wait a minute. So, you had a question, maybe we'll make that our last
Yeah,
question.
Actually, do you know where you're going next? I mean, do you know what your next book is going to be?
The book, yeah, because it's done.
No, the one after, no.
Oh, the one after that?
Yeah,
I have
Are you that-
no
yeah.
idea.
I know you said the one is done and that by the end of the year it should be under wraps, but you have no idea.
I can't work on two things at one time.
Okay.
Note. So I always say I have a year to write a book, but I don't really, because I'm finishing up the last book, which eats into the next year. So I have no idea. Hopefully an idea will come soon, but it'll come when it comes. So, yes, one more.
Diane Chamberlain, your birth name?
It's not my birth name, but it's also not my pen name.
Okay.
I was born Diane Lopresti, and I married a Shimoleski. And I was a Shimoleski for about 6 years, and I got really tired of being a Shimoleski. I mean, I married him for 20 years, but I didn't want that name anymore. And people would say, oh, where in Poland are you people from? And no. So,
New Jersey?
So I really wanted Chamberlain. It was my mother's maiden name.
Oh, cool.
I was very close to her mother, who I thought of as a Chamberlain. So I wanted that name, but I didn't want to hurt my father's feelings. So I took Lopresti back, and for 2 weeks I was Diane Lopresti. And I wrote to my parents and explained what I had done, and my father wrote back and he said, "You should have taken Chamberlain. There's no Chamberlains left." So I'm like, all right. So in 2 weeks' time, I had 3 names. You should have seen my passport. Because you have to list every name you had. So it was Diane Shimoleski, Lopresti, Chamberlain. But that's how I got Chamberlain, and that was in the mid-70s. So I've been a Chamberlain ever since.
So do you know our local author that lives here on the island by chance?
No.
BJ.
Oh, BJ.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
did
know
BJ?
BJ,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Carolyn Ross.
BJ.
Don't know her.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to sign books.